What up, what up? Welcome on in to Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. On today's show, we preview a very busy weekend ahead in Baylor Athletics. Baylor Softball hits the road for Super Regionals in Gainesville, Florida. Track and field gets underway in the West Prelims, and men's golf start their quest for an NCAA Championship. Don't forget, you can catch Inside Baylor Sports every weekday. You can also watch the video version for free over at BaylorPlus.com and on the Baylor Athletics YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, and review the pod. And follow Baylor Plus today on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It's the official content network of Baylor Athletics. Think Netflix for your Baylor Bears. Download the app on your mobile device and sign up for your free 7-day trial today at BaylorPlus.com. It's Friday, May 24th, 2024. Justin Huff alongside the Baylor Bear insider Jerry Hill. And we got to start with softball. Softball, what a weekend it was last weekend. But, hey, it's a new weekend now. You got to put it behind you. And it's the Florida Gators in front of us, Jerry. The Florida Gators, the fourth seed, the number 4 seed in the softball championships. It will not be easy. This is a hot team. They've won 11 straight. They're at home. It's an SEC opponent. But you can beat the big bad SEC here. Big 12 versus SEC. Going to be a fun one. And you're going to be there later on today and really looking forward to this one, Jerry.
Yeah, I think, obviously, I don't know that very many people gave them a chance in the Louisiana regional, in the Lafayette regional. I don't know that very many people gave them chances there. So it's going to be the same thing here. Not many people are picking Baylor to get past Florida. Florida, like you said, number 4 overall national seed. I think most people expect them to get to Oklahoma City. They probably have expected them to get there most of the year. Big underdogs. I saw an ESPN analyst that kind of reseeded it, had us as the 16 seed. So, there's a little motivation when somebody says you're the worst team still playing, but you're in a super regional. And that's the thing. You don't have to, win 5. You don't have to, you got to win 2 games. And granted, that's hard against Florida on their home field, but that's all you have to do. You're now 2 wins away from a Women's College World Series, which would be obviously Baylor's 5th in program history. And that's how close you are right now, is you win 2 more games and you're going to Oklahoma City for the World Series.
Yeah, and hey, it's good to be the underdog. But, yeah, that's good. Hey, you're the worst team left in the tournament. You need to put that up. Bulletin board material. I don't know if that still exists here in 2024, but go ahead and text that out to everybody, and you can put that out on social media. Every player could post that. Hey, we are the worst team left in the NCAA tournament. That should turn them up. And hey, they really have nothing to lose here. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No pressure. Everybody thinks Florida's going to win. It's just that's what's in front of them. So you go out there, you play loose, you have fun. And we know when Baylor softball's at its best, they can beat Florida. They really can. They really can beat this team, but you have to play your best ball. And that's not going to be easy to do, but it starts today, 11 a.m. Central Time on ESPN2, and then tomorrow at 10 o'clock Central Time. And then if there's a game 3, if necessary, that'll be on Sunday. And going back to what we talked about earlier in the week, Jerry, with women's golf, and we'll talk about it with men's golf, game 1. Game 1 is really important, right? Because game 1, you get that win, suddenly Florida's going to feel a lot of pressure. I mean, a lot of pressure. And that's exactly what you want to do. You got a chance here. You win game 1, you can kind of turn the tide here, and suddenly you're in favor. You're in the driver's seat. So game 1, don't want to put too much on it, but then again, let's put a lot on it. Game 1 is crucial for this 3-game series.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think it does put, if Baylor goes out in there and wins that first game, every bit of the pressure is all on Florida. Like you said, I think Baylor goes in loose. If they win a game, people are going to be surprised. Here's my thought, when we were talking about, nobody giving them a chance or whatever. When I look back at the Oklahoma State series, Oklahoma State is 5th, the number 5 national seed. Florida's 4. in that Oklahoma State series, we won one, but we could have very easily won the other two. I know we had a late lead in the first game and lost that in extra innings. So you were that close to winning a series against Oklahoma State, which is the 5 seed. Now, granted, it was at home. This one's on the road. But that's where I can see that Baylor can get on the field and go toe-to-toe with some of the best teams in the country. So, yeah, nobody's giving you a shot, but go out there and shock them. And I think you're absolutely right, Justin. You win that first game, now you only got to win one more to advance. So I think there is a lot on that first game. Certainly you don't want to put too much pressure on it. But, man, that would be a huge win to get that first one.
And Glenn Moore and his staff has been together for a while. They've done this before, right? 7 super regionals now. This is not it's not their first rodeo for the team. For a lot of the players, it is their first rodeo, but just trust in Glenn Moore. And think about this. If Baylor's able to get out of this super regional and make it to the College World Series, what an incredible story that would be, because they started 1-8 in conference play. Everybody basically turned the lights out on this team and said the season's over. But they had some other thoughts, other plans. And so that would be a remarkable story if they're able to do that. But just even getting to the super regionals is super impressive and an accomplishment in and of itself. And Jerry, you had said this. You had a nice story, nice writing job on your end. Don't want to say that too much, but your writing was on point about a total team effort. And in order for Baylor to beat Florida twice this weekend, it's going to take that. It's going to take pitching. It's going to take defense and timely hitting. It will take a team effort to beat the Gators.
Yeah, and they had every bit of that really the whole weekend, but particularly in that last game, the winner-take-all region final where, the winner advances, regardless of who it is. They had it on every side, defense. Taylor Strain making that throw, Caiazos blocking the play, not blocking it, not obstructing, but man, had a great tag on the play. You just don't expect that on a ball out in, fairly deep in center field. It wasn't like a shallow hit. She's throwing a long way, and they were able to gun down the player at the plate. That was a huge play. But then you think even at the start of the game, they had home runs by Emily Hott and Caiazos in the first 2 innings that kind of got you in that game after you get beat 13-0 and you bounce right back. You get those 2 homers in the first 2 innings. It's tied 2-2. And then Riley Crandall, just the job that she did in the circle, against, what Glenn said was, one of, if not the best offenses they've seen all year. And you think about who they've seen a lot of the best teams. So Riley did an unbelievable job. And here's the thing, and this is where it's, a lot on the defense. She didn't walk a lot, but they got 9 hits off of her, but and she only had 1 strikeout, and that was in the 7th inning. But she let her defense work. She didn't get hurt by the deep ball. She kept them in the game. That's what they needed. They needed her to keep them in the game, and she did that. Through 4 innings, it's a 1-run game. Then you take the lead in the top of the 5th, and over the last, I guess it was over the last 5 innings. She gave up 1 earned run, or really over the last 4. She gave up 0 runs, and she only gave up 1 earned run for the game. The 2 in the first inning were unearned. So great job by Riley. And then, coming up with the timely hits there in the top of the 5th inning. So great job by the whole team. Everybody had to contribute, and they did.
And a little bit back to Florida, just some good nuggets and stats for some of our listeners out there. They're a really good team. Okay. This is the type of game that Baylor played earlier in the season. This is a Tennessee. This is a Oklahoma, a Texas, and Oklahoma State. It's that kind of caliber team. As Jerry said, the number 4 overall seed. You don't become a top 5 team if you're not really, really good. They finished 2nd in the SEC during the regular season. They won the SEC tournament championship. And Jerry, I pulled up some of their numbers, and you don't want to look at their numbers too much. You just don't. And so, for one, this is a team that hits a lot of home runs. 87 home runs on the season. They've only given up 38 to their opponents. They have 4 players who've hit 10 or more home runs. 7 players. Check that, 8 players who have hit 4 or more home runs. They have a player with 16 home runs on the season, Reagan Walsh. They also have a player, Skylar Wallace, with 65 RBIs. Jocelyn Erickson, she leads the team in RBIs at 75. So, I mean, this is a team that has 4 players with 50 or more RBIs. And it doesn't just stop there, Jerry, because I know you're probably like, hey, just put a cork in it. The stolen bases. This is something they're this is probably their most elite area. Stolen bases. Outside of home runs, they have 103 stolen bases, and they have Skylar Wallace, who has 34 stolen bases. She's 34 of 36, 14 home runs, 65 RBIs, bats .411. I mean, good grief. This team is really, really good. And, their pitching's also really good, too. So, it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, don't post all those numbers. Don't let Baylor see those. But I tell you what, I can tell you one that's like, okay, bring it, is Sydney Collazo. She has no fear. And, she threw out a runner that was in the first game against Louisiana on Saturday. She threw out, their best base stealer, Maya Davis, the leadoff hitter. Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year. She threw her out. And I believe this is right. Louisiana, in all the games for the year, they tried, I believe it was 4 stolen base attempts. They had 0 stolen bases. So bring it. Sydney Cazos, Zadie LaValle, when she's back there, I mean, they're saying, hey, bring it. We'll throw you out. Maybe we won't even let you on base. But, again, you look at those numbers compared to, say, Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State. They're probably similar. Those home run numbers are big. The stolen base, I don't know. They may lead the nation in stolen bases. That's a bunch. And I saw it was 103 and 112 attempts. They've been thrown out 9 times for the year. That's amazing. But again, I guarantee you, Sydney's like, come on, try my arm. And, they may get some stolen bases on her, but it's not going to be for her not trying. She will try to gun them down on the bases.
That's a 92% success rate on the base path. So, hey, don't let the base runners get on base, right? That's a way to keep them off base and not have to worry about the steals. But yeah, that'll be fun to watch, that battle between the pitcher and catcher and the runners on base, and hopefully not too many runners. And that doesn't even talk about Corby Otis, who bats .459 on the season. And their number 2 pitcher, Ava Brown, who's got a nice ERA at 3.73, but she also bats. And when I say bats well, 13 homers, 40 RBIs. So you can go on and on. It's not going to matter, though. When you start later today, everybody has zeros at the Super Regionals. And so you're expecting to see great teams when you go to the Super Regionals. And Florida's a great team, but great teams lose as well. And so Baylor has nothing to lose. Really looking forward to today. And for Baylor to come out in game 1, and would love to see a victory there. Remember, game time, 11 a.m. Central Time on ESPN2. All right, let's switch gears now, move over to Baylor Track and Field. It's the West Prelims coming off the Big 12 championships just a couple weeks ago. Of course, you got the NCAA Championships out in Eugene here in a couple weeks. This is a big weekend, though, to qualify for the NCAAs in Eugene, and Baylor Track and Field having another successful season. We've talked about Alexis Brown a lot, but you just can't say enough about her. I mean, she's box office, worth the price of admission to watch, and she's going to be fun that this is going to be out there soon.
Yeah, and I give her, I would be shocked if she didn't make it to Eugene, because it's one of the interesting things about this meet. You don't have to win. You just have to be like in the field events. You just have to be in the top 12 to advance. I know the mindset going in is maybe to, win, but that, as Coach Ford said, you don't get any trophies for that. You don't get a medal for that. You just need to advance. And that's got to be the mindset. I think it's where, if Alexis gets a big jump out there right off the bat, they'll take it and go home and not even maybe worry about the other 2 attempts. But that's the other thing, is in the field events and the regional, you get 3 attempts. There's no finals. You get 3 attempts and you advance. Now in the pole vault, it's, high. When you get to 12, then they just cut it off. But in the other field events, whether it's the jumps, the throws, whatever, it's and I guess high jump would be the same way. But in the throws and the jumps, it's, you get you get 3 throws, 3 attempts, and that's it. So you really want to get out there, like in the case of a Coy Johnson or Alexis Brown. You need to get that first attempt out there. Don't foul on your first 2, because there's a lot of pressure. There's more pressure in this meet, in the NCAA regional, I think, than any other meet other than maybe the Olympic trials, where you're trying to make a team. So there's a lot of pressure on this, but survive and advance. This is kind of their March Madness. We'll call it May Madness, to get to Eugene. Just survive and advance and get to the finals, or get to the semifinals, technically is what it would be. But yeah, it's a big week, big meet. And I do expect a lot of them to come out of this meet, coming off a great Big 12, with both 4x1 relays really popping there. The men's 4x4 ran a great one. There's a lot. I think there'll be a lot of entries, a lot of people that make that trip to Eugene.
Competing in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And it's that time of the year, Jerry. It's spring season. It's championship season. So there's going to be nerves. There's going to be pressure. As the famous RG3 once said, no pressure, no diamonds. And so you're going to have that, right? You want the pressure. The pressure is there because it's a big moment. And so embrace the pressure and go out there and perform.
Yeah, and they've got so many that Coach Ford talked about this too. Like, the pressure is really on those ones that have been in the top 12 or whatever all year, because they've done it all year. But now the pressure's on them. There's no pressure on the ones that are, in the top, like 45th in the regional, to try to get into the top 12. The pressure's on those ones that have done it all year. Now they got to do it one more time just to make it. But, I like Baylor's entries, whether it's, Zaza in the javelin throw, Nate Ezekiel in the 400 hurdles. We talked about Alexis Brown. I think, both of the 4x1s are really good bets to advance. The men's 4x4 should advance. The women's 4x4 has got some work to do. But yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of them advance to Eugene for the NCAA championships.
All right, let's finish out the show with Baylor men's golf. They get underway out in California today, and we talked about it the other day. Women's golf, that day one is so important. And so the key here for the men's team is they have a veteran who's been here a long time, 5th-year senior Johnny Kiefer. And I expect to see Johnny Kiefer near the top of the leaderboard all weekend long, and that's kind of going off your track analogy. That's kind of your anchor leg, right? Your guy that you can lean on, and what you're going to get from Johnny Kiefer. So really looking forward to Johnny Kiefer. He's got to lead this team, an important day one for the team, to try to be at least in the mix and have a solid day. Would love to see them right around 15th or better.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, in golf, in college golf, is to have a really solid number one. It's a little bit similar in tennis, to have that really good number one player that makes everybody else better. But yeah, in college golf in particular, you need that number one, the anchor that's going to lead you. And you just expect that out of Johnny. Like you said, he's been doing it for 5 years. He's had a lot of postseason rounds. And if he has a good day, hopefully the rest of the team does. I would say another key in this tournament would be, your 4 and 5. I think back to, the women's golf this past weekend. They struggled with that, the 4 and 5. They struggled with getting that 4th good score. If you can post 4 good scores every day, then you're going to have a chance. Johnny obviously gives you that anchor that you're going to get a good score out of him. Now you just got to have 3 good scores out of those other 5. You don't want one that's just, really kind of out of it. You want those other 4 players kind of competing to be one of the other scoring spots. So that's something to look at this week, is what are those other 4 doing?
Yeah, you need a team. It's a team sport, right? Johnny can do what Johnny can do, and there's a part to this that is individual. As far as Monday, they kind of go 4 days, and they'll crown an individual champion after the 4 days. But the big part that Coach McGraw and company are looking for is that team side. And so we've said that word a lot. From track to softball to men's golf, team will be critical. And so looking forward to how it plays out. Jerry, we'll be with the listeners and the viewers coming up next Tuesday. We'll take Memorial Day off, and so looking forward to that. And just a big weekend, Jerry. This is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to kind of sitting back, watching, following along. And the best way here, obviously, you can catch some of this on ESPN Plus or on ESPN2 or ESPN, but you can always go on social media and follow the accounts. That's a great way to follow along.
Yeah, and to your point of when you were talking about Johnny Kiefer, it kind of hit me too. You talk about him being there. Mike McGraw's been there. Mike McGraw has been there a lot. So I think that's one thing that helps this team is Mike McGraw knows what it takes. He won it at Oklahoma State. He's done a great job here at Baylor. He got him to match play, I believe, at least once. So yeah, that's a big key, is having a coach like that has that kind of experience, that's done it on the biggest stage. And I think his stability, his leadership also helps this team. But yeah, it'll be fun to watch this weekend, Justin. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see how it all goes.
That'll do it for today's edition of Inside Baylor Sports, a Sport and Story production. Thanks for listening. For Jerry Hill, I'm Justin Hoff. Have a great Friday, and Sick 'em Bears.
Sick 'em Bears.